All right. Hello, everyone. I see myself in the corner here. I'm Larson, Jared Larson, the instructor of record for this course on U.S. government or American government, as it's called by the university, for the fall of 2021. And it's obviously, as you know, an asynchronous online course, which I've come to appreciate. I don't love. I much prefer to be in a classroom. My jokes, I promise you, are much better live than recorded. But unfortunately, either way, I still have this ugly face. I include the little picture of me in the corner talking for the time being, just so you know that I am a human. I do exist. My grandma pinches this cheek. Um, I am a human. You know, you can communicate with me as such. But from here on out, with the rest of the recorded videos about which I'll talk momentarily, you will not see me in the corner. You will hear my annoying voice. You will not see my ugly face. So that's probably good for you. But I usually include my video face here as for week one. But anyway, speaking of week one, here we are. This is the Canvas login. Sorry, my wife's computer thinks it's in Venezuela or something where she's from, and so everything's in Spanish. This is probably not the case with you, but anyway, you'll go to the American government course, and you'll click on this to enter into our class. Let's see here. I don't know why oh, there I am again. So here's the little intro page where I say, hello, I'm your instructor of record. And this just has some real basic info on, well, week one, watch this video, read the syllabus, pretty straightforward. Make sure that you are ready for this class for online education. There's a link here. It's pretty informative. I have skimmed through this little non-credit online course for e-learning 101. This is more relevant when the virus crisis started, and so on and so forth, but it is worth your time. But I'm sure most of you you're very familiar with online education at this point, so not really much to worry, but do read through this. I'm not going to read through this verbatim here at all, because you can read, but do not try to do all the work for class on a mobile phone. You're going to run into some trouble there. Textbooks are important. I'll talk about them in a minute when I go over the syllabus. Nothing else to purchase. No, they're extra. There are 3 books. I'll talk about that, but we will watch some movies, but I will give you access to all of them. I think, course is on Canvas. How to log into Canvas. If you're seeing this, you've logged into Canvas, you're okay. But anyway, if you do need help with Canvas, I would probably start with the HSU folks first, the IT help desk. I am no technical guru, not at all, not at all. So if you've got tech problems, I would probably not start with me. But anyway, I'm here to help with anything and everything that I can. Tech is not something I'm good at helping anyone with. But anyway, we go in from the homepage here to modules, or módulos in Spanish. And this is a good place to start here. So I click on this, the computer will think. Week one here, I organized the Canvas page by weeks. So get used to that. I've gotten good feedback on the structure of the page, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But the link to the video that you're watching now, you've already found, hopefully here. But let's look at the syllabus, and my floating head will read through some of it with you on the fly. I often prefer to download the things, but I'll just leave it up here as it is for the time being. Let's see here. So Humboldt State University, Department of Politics, name of the course, U.S. government. I don't really use the term American to refer to things from the United States. American can mean a lot of different things, even though to a lot of Americans, America means America. But I don't really fit that bill. But anyway, you'll understand why as the semester wears on. But here are the three sections that I'm teaching of U.S. government. You should be enrolled in one of these three. If you're not enrolled in either of these, any of these, somehow there's been some sort of mix-up, and you're going to want to sort that out. But anyway, my name is Jared D. Larson. You can call me Jared. You can call me Larson. Mr. Larson is my dad. Dr. Larson is fine, although I'm not really into titles. If you want to go by degrees, Bachelor Larson is no longer applicable. Got the wife's computer. Master Larson is fun, but nobody's ever called me that. So yeah, stick with Dr. Larson, Professor Larson, or just Jared. I am a real person. And I'm not really one for super formalities. So, but I really don't like Mr. Larson. Again, I feel like my dad is standing behind me when somebody calls me Mr. Larson. So, office number here is the main office. You can call if you want. If you leave a message, I will get it, but it's probably best to email me or use the Canvas message straight away. I do foolishly give you my personal cell phone number, mobile number. If you need to get a hold of me very quickly for some reason or another, you can do that. It's there. Use it if you have to, but please, make sure it's a real emergency, and maybe text before you call, because if I don't recognize the number, I'm probably not going to pick up the phone. So anyway, there's the logistical details here. I'm not going to read through this verbatim. You can if you want. I encourage you to do so. But the course description, the catalog description from the HSU course listing, the objectives here. I just really want you to get a better understanding of how politics in the United States works. The political system, that is institutionally more than anything, and in the state of California, which by law we've got to talk about, and we will. There's some department learning outcomes here, demonstrate knowledge of theories and institutions and processes, etc. Sure, we'll do that. There are campus-wide learning outcomes here. You will definitely write. I'm going to make you write, not a lot, but I am going to pay attention to what you do write. That's going to be a theme. I'll get there in a sec. I really want you to hopefully think critically. I'm going to encourage you to do that throughout the semester. And then I hope you gain an appreciation for an understanding of the world around you, really. Because that's what we're talking about. Everything around us is political, whether we like it or not. A lot of people really shun politics and almost view it as a bad word. I'm not a fan of politics per se, but we can't avoid the political in our day-to-day lives. So I'm going to hopefully help you curate, we'll say, your own toolkit to better understand the political world around you, and how to navigate it and how to act within it. So anyway, we'll do that through the wisdom of these folks. There are three textbooks. Sorry, I was going to pull them and then I didn't. I am wearing actual pants. Sometimes people talk in meetings and on the computers and such, a virus crisis, and they're not properly dressed. I am wearing actual clothes. But anyway, books, American government. I will call this the Lowy book throughout the semester. We will then read the Katznelson book, The Politics of Power, by Ira Katznelson and two other folks. And then Renee Van Vechten, she wrote this book on California politics. It's rather thin. But again, by law, we have to talk about California politics. So there's that. So you might be thinking, Larson, I don't like you, and I wouldn't blame you. But in your case, it's probably because of the three textbooks. There's really no perfect textbook for any undergraduate, really any course in any university. There's no perfect textbook, which is in part why we're going to read three. Right, all three books are accessible. I think they're pretty easy to read. Lowy and Van Vechten are also less expensive than other similar textbooks. Some of us do think about the cost of textbooks when we assign them. The Katznelson book, even though it's the oldest, there's not been a new edition since 2014. So he's constantly talking about this guy named Obama. Maybe you've heard of him. But he used to be president back in the Stone Age. But the content is still really good. We're going to follow the Lowy textbook, the calendar. so chapter 1, 2, 3, more or less. But Lowy is very, I use the term here, laudatory of the U.S. political system. The Katznelson book, given the subtitle, A Critical Introduction to American Government, is, well, pretty critical. So some students love it, some students hate it. It might have something to do with your political leanings, but the Lowy book is very USA, and then the Katznelson book is rather, hold on a sec, USA. Let's think about things. So they work well together, I think. And then the Van Vechten book, again, is required by the California state government because we have to talk about the political system in California. So, but taken together, I really hope to provide you with the tools required to understand U.S. and California political history and to unpack current domestic politics and policies, right? So I'll also feed you some news articles now and again throughout the semester. Officially, you're going to be responsible for them. So do pay attention. There'll be a lot of news brought up in the video lectures throughout. And feel free to talk about anything topical in the discussion boards, about which I'll talk momentarily here. So grading, you probably want to know about how the grading works. So there are discussion boards that are worth a collective 10% of your overall grade. Reading quizzes, 25 of them. I'll go into detail in a sec. Film analysis papers, 2 of them that you're going to have to do for 10% each, or a total of 20 of your final grade. And then 4 exams, 3 during the semester that are worth 10% of your overall grade each, and then a final exam that I bumped up a bit to 15, because I find sometimes people need a bit of a boost at the end of the semester. So what I did is I tweaked the numbers from previous semesters here, and I upped the final in hopes of incentivizing folks to dig in and prepare a bit better for the final, because if it's weighted a bit heavier, that'll hopefully bring grades up toward the end of the semester if you need it. So anyway, online discussion boards here. I'm going to talk about the components of the grade step by step here. So I'm going to do a bit of reading, but I'll clarify whatever I think might not be crystal clear. So whether we like it or not, participation in virtual discussions is really a necessary evil in online courses. You're used to this by now, for better or for worse. Since the exams cover material from both the lecture and the textbook, it would benefit you to ask questions about whatever is not clear to you, and to answer those of your classmates as you are able, right? I mean, it doesn't hurt to think. You're going to have to ask a question and respond to 2 questions. It won't hurt you at all to ask a legitimate question. Hey, how do you interpret this? What do you make of that? Or, somebody asks a question that really gets your wheels turning, answer that, right? It's not going to kill you. But anyway, your discussion grade will be based on you asking 1 question for 3 points and responding to 2 questions from your peers for 3 points each. That's 9. And then you're going to have to follow my style guide, which I'll show you after I get done with the syllabus. Some people love the style guide. Some people hate the style guide. The style guide is meant to give you a guide to your writing style and to help you avoid some really nitpicky problems, egregious errors, things of that nature. But so I incentivize you to pay attention to my tools that I supply you with to help your writing, right? Access to the following week's discussion board will open Fridays at midnight or Saturdays at 12 a.m., however you want to describe it, and close the end of the following weekend, Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So in other words, each successive week will overlap. So you can do 2 weeks worth of work over any one weekend if that's what you choose to do. What else do I say here? A rubric for the discussion board and the style guide are posted on the Canvas page under the week 1 module. So just below where you found this link and the syllabus. And again, I'll show this to you here in a sec. More importantly, perhaps, there are 14 weeks of discussion, and I will drop the 4 lowest scores. So in other words, you only need to do 10 discussion boards. This flexibility is baked into the class. It's done as a favor to you, and it's a theme, so use it to your advantage. Reading quizzes for almost each chapter of all 3 textbooks will be available or accessible on Canvas. For all the chapters of Lowy, 12 chapters of Katznelson, and the first 10 chapters of Van Vechten. So there are 36 chapters total. you've got to do 25 reading quizzes for your grade, and they're worth, in effect, 1% of your total grade each. Of those 25. This flexibility is also meant to be a favor to you. You can decide when you want to submit your responses based on your schedule and other obligations. You can feel free to do all 36 quizzes, and your grade will probably thank you for it, because I do recycle a lot of the reading quiz questions on the exams. And that's done as a favor to you, and it's a way of for me to stress, hey, I think this is important, right? You're going to be asked several times, how long is a senator's term? 6 years, right? That's going to come up more than once. So that's me saying, hey, these are some really basic things I want you to know. But doing more quizzes will help your brain prepare for the exams. And then also, you're probably not going to get 10 points, 100% on every quiz. But what I will do, if you do all 36, 11 scores are going to drop. The lowest 11 scores will drop. I'll take the highest 25. If you only want to do 25 quizzes, stop after 25. Great. Some people do that. Happy with the score, do that. Or if you really don't like the Lowy textbook, or you really don't like the Katznelson textbook, you can avoid most of those chapters. The Van Vechten quizzes are weighted the same, and the chapters are much shorter. So I find a lot of people tend to make sure they get those Van Vechten chapters done because it's a quicker read. But however you want to structure it, be my guest, but know that there's flexibility here, right? So use the flexibility to your advantage. That said, if you wait until the middle of the semester to even start doing these things, and you realize that there are only 20 left, do them all, and you're going to have to eat 5 zeros. I'm not going to let you go back and make up quizzes after they're due. I'm just not. I mean, I'm here to help. I try to be very flexible with things, but there's a limit to my flexibility here. So don't wait till the middle of the semester. Exactly like with the discussion boards, access to the following week's reading quizzes will open Fridays at midnight or Saturdays at 12 a.m. and close the following weekend. So you have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You have 9 days to do any 1 week's worth of work. So again, you could overlap and do 2 weeks of work, overlapping weeks of work, 1 weekend, and basically just work every other weekend if that's what you want to do. Again, I try to be as flexible as I can. Some people do not like that, and I've been told this on teaching evals, which I do pay attention to, contrary to perhaps popular belief. I do take your feedback seriously, and the feedback of those who've come before you folks now. Some people do not like that everything seems to be due Sunday at midnight, but I mean, it makes no difference to me if you do your reading quizzes on Tuesday and your discussions on Wednesday. I'm just trying to be as flexible as possible, and leaving things to the end provides flexibility to the procrastinators. I don't know. I mean, this works for me. It works for most people. So I leave it like this. But anyway, you have 9 days to do any 1 week's worth of work. Sporadically throughout the semester, we're going to watch a few different films, 5 different films on the syllabus. I will provide you with free access to all of them via Canvas. One is on Netflix. I don't know about the subtitles or the closed captioning if you watch it outside of Netflix, but you don't have to do it. Because again, I'll explain. There's flexibility here built in. There are 5 films. You're going to write a film analysis paper for 2 of them, right? Providing an explanation as to how the themes of the films relate to the readings and lecture. I do not want you to comment on their artistic quality. Some people like to do that. I specifically ask that you not, because I don't care. Instead, briefly explain the film's premise, and then tell me how I should understand the film in terms of its portrayal of the foundations, institutions, politics, and governance, the things we're going to be talking about in this class, of the U.S. political system. These papers should be 2 full and complete pages. That's not a lot. But still people turn in a page and a half and then defend themselves saying it's 2 pages. If you are short, and by short, I mean even 1 line short of 2 full and complete pages, I'm going to cap your score at 70. If you are 1 line onto a 4th page, I'm going to cap your score at 70. Part of being a grown-up is learning to jump through hoops, like it or not. And you might have a job someday that's going to be very clear in what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to write things up. Happens to me all the time in things that I do. in academia. So get used to this. I provide you a rubric on Canvas, sorry, and as I'm able, supplementary material for each film, which could be a study guide. I think I have sample papers for each paper that you can access on Canvas. So there should be no surprises at all. And then, of course, I'm here to help. Right. So get in touch, call, Zoom, we can Skype. You remember Skype? It was something we used to use a lot. And then Zoom came along and Skype has sort of disappeared. We can chat over the phone. We can use the WhatsApp. I don't care. But I'm here to help with your papers. I also encourage everyone to contact the HSU Writing Studio. I'm going to talk more about that in a sec down below. But the idea is that you become better writers. And I have just about every semester somebody says, even in these asynchronous, very impersonal online classes, will send me an email at the end of the semester and say, boy, Larson, I really appreciate your feedback. The study guide's picky and annoying, but it's helpful, right? So I really want you to walk away from this class thinking that you've learned a little bit about how politics works in the United States, the political system in general, and I really want you to feel like I've done my best to help you write a little bit better. And at the end of the day, this is a gen ed class. Most of you are not politics majors, will not be politics majors. But the most transferable skill you can walk away from this class with is writing a bit better. That's going to help you in every other class you take. Okay. So that's one of my sub goals here. I don't put it on the first page of the syllabus in the outcomes, but that's really my personal outcome, is that I want to do my part to help you write a bit better. Beyond that, for your grade, lastly, we're going to have some exams. They're multiple choice, which is kind of the nature of a 100 level big gen ed class. Obviously, you're going to do these on your own. So they're open note, open book. I do put a clock on them. I do give you a study guide, and you'll, of course, can take all the time in the world you need to ask me questions about anything. Usually after the first exam, people see, oh, wow, the study guide actually does help. And Larson doesn't throw curveballs. I'm really not here to ruin your grade or ruin your day or anything like that. So transparency is kind of my shtick. And usually after the first exam, people are pretty comfortable with how this works. Yeah, you'll need an hour to do exams 1, 2, and 3, 90 minutes for the final. You will not be able to start and stop the exam. So make sure you've got time, make sure you got a steady internet connection. And then lastly, make sure you don't miss the exams. I will allow you to make up exams as long as you get in touch with me shortly after you miss it. But if you miss the first exam, I'll let you make it up for a max of 80%. You miss the second exam, a max of 70. You miss the third exam, a maximum of 60. If you miss the final, a maximum of 50. That's not if you miss an exam and then the second time you miss, that's, this is exam 1, exam 2, exam 3, and the final. So if you take exams 1 through 3 early and then somehow miss the final, you're getting a 50. Like that's it. Like again, I'm super flexible, and again, I'm not out to ruin anybody's grade, but yeah, the flexibility has its limits. And I'm trying to, hope that you folks, also learn some responsibility here. If you're not already super responsible, as many of you, I'm sure, already are. But anyway, I expect that you will not work on the exams with others. If there's evidence of students working together, I will not hesitate in referring you to the dean's office. And I'm going to repeat this a couple of times about the dean's office and cheating and plagiarism and such. And I will add this caveat in parentheses here. Canvas creepily tells me the second you begin and end an exam. If you start and stop at the same time as someone else and you get the same score, my eyebrows will raise, and then I'll start looking at reading quizzes. And if I see that you're working with the same people, same times, same grades on the reading quizzes, I'm going to report you to the dean's office for cheating. So work independently from the beginning. On the exams especially, right? There's no margin for error there. Do your own exams. Moving on here. Administrative notes here. Thanks in no small part to my 5 years experience teaching this class at HSU in person and online, I will only accept late work under extreme duress. This is to say, late work will not be accepted without a care letter. Too many times I've been taken advantage of at Humboldt State in particular. Or students have decided to turn in 2 papers at the end of the semester and they say, but I thought the dates were flexible. I could just turn them all in at the end. No. There's a lot of flexibility worked into this class concerning due dates. Yes, you can avoid 11 reading quizzes. You can avoid 4 discussion boards. You can not watch 3 films. I'll never know. But there are minimums you need to do, and your work needs to be into me on time. And again, I've had it, dealing with people who miss quizzes every week, it seems, and I reopen the quizzes, and I'm not doing that anymore. You can really thank the folks in my spring semester classes and in the summer class that I just taught, the same U.S. government course. And I spend more time dealing with people's late work than reading papers and providing feedback, which is what I really want to do. So anyway, just know that there's a lot of flexibility, but I'm not going to take late work. No missed discussion boards, no missed reading quizzes. You miss a due date on a paper, do the next one. You got 5 opportunities to write 2 papers. So I'm tired of the late work and the time it takes me to deal with people's late work. So anyways, I say here, I understand that you're busy. We all are. However, your primary responsibility at college is your education. So plan accordingly, organize your work, travel, social calendars around all due dates and exams. Use the flexibility on the discussion boards, the reading quizzes, and the papers to your advantage, right? I'm trying to meet you in the middle here, right? I'm not going to say when I was a student, I never turned anything in late. I did. I'm a procrastinator by nature, but this is my way of meeting you all in the middle, right? You got flexibility, but in return, I get to not deal with late work. So there we are. Hopefully, we're both happier, and it makes for a better working relationship in the long run. I say here, I strongly encourage you to study with other students, help each other out, bounce ideas off one another as you are. I mean, I have no idea where you all are, who knows whom, etc. But work together, talk things out. That's great. But when it comes to the assignments and exams, you should be the one doing your own work. Do not copy and paste work from the internet and pass it off as your own. I say here in bold and italics, I have very little patience for cheating or plagiarism, and I will not hesitate to report both to the Dean of Students, see below, where I say more about this. If you have any questions, ask me. I mean, I'm an open book. But just in the summer class, I had somebody on their last paper just do a copy and paste job, and it's not hard for me to figure out. I don't even bother with the turn it in. I don't even look at the reports. It's usually pretty clear to me when all of a sudden I read 3 sentences together that are just flawless with big words and properly used punctuation, especially if there's a semicolon. All it takes is me Googling the sentence and I can usually find where you got the source. So don't do that. Don't do that. I have absolutely no patience for it. And again, I'll come back to this topic in a sec. I do need to, for housekeeping purposes, I need to tell you that since I am teaching 3 sections of Political Science 110, I've merged them all into one on Canvas. And I need to tell you that by law, for better or for worse, that you will almost inevitably interact with others who are not enrolled in your same section. But this actually works out better for you because as there are around 150 people total across the 3 sections, this means that there are greater likelihood that you're going to find yourself interacting. If you're more of a proactive person, you want to get this discussion board out of the way, there's a greater likelihood by merging the courses that those of you who are more proactive will be able to knock those out ahead of time, because you're not going to be able to respond to anybody's questions until people ask questions, right? So if you're the first person to post a question every week, you're going to have to sit tight, check back in and see when other people post their questions for you to ask them. But with more people in the pool, it's more likely that we're going to get proactive folks posting questions sooner. So anyway, it's housekeeping, but it needs to be said. Moving on, anticipating that you'll be in contact with me via email and or Canvas messages, please read and ponder this link. I'm not going to take you to it here, but it's how to email a professor. It sounds pretty simple, but you would be surprised in my line of work how many people have really no idea how to professionally communicate. The link here will say things to, say, use your HSU email account, use your university email account, put something in the subject line, Greet your professor. Say, hello, Larson. Simple. That's better than yo or sup or just diving right into your problem without telling me who you are, much less saying hello, or and emailing me from your badass 1999 at Gmail account, which doesn't show up in my inbox as your name, right? I have no idea. So, but the link there will give you some tips on how to communicate with folks like me and your other professors. Got some sage advice like, if you have a problem, propose a solution. And that's good thinking for anybody, right? Outside of academia as well. If I need to email somebody and say, hey, I've got a problem that you can help me with, here's how I think we could solve it, right? I mean, help me help you is what I'm saying, and be professional in the process. If you do not follow the guidelines posted, spelled out in how to email a professor, I do reserve the right not to respond to you. I've rarely exercised that right. But I do, like, if it's really egregious and you're emailing me from your, personal Gmail account, not giving me any context or explanation of who you are, I'm not going to take the time. I get hundreds of emails a day from folks in lots of different places. And yeah, so just stick to the HSU account, be professional, we'll be fine. As I say here, some students find this to be overly burdensome, but I'm not asking you to write me a Shakespearean love sonnet or a letter like you'd send to your grandma. I still send my grandma letters because I'm old school and she's really old. But if we learned anything from the virus crisis, it is that work will increasingly be done online and in written form. So in the future, even landing your first real job will likely depend on how you present yourself in writing via a screen. So practice being professional now. And many of you probably already have a real job and real careers, and you know this, so it's no big deal. Just be professional and we're good. We're good to go. This is a link to lots of links to different HSU policies that I've got to put on a syllabus. Look at that if you feel that any of this applies to you. Complaints against faculty, staff, or administrators. We all have complaints against administrators. That's for certain. But anyway, animals in the classroom is a moot point. But anyway, that's all there if you need it. There's a link. Click on that if you want. September 6th, also my birthday, is the deadline to add or drop classes without a serious and compelling reason for this semester. I will start doing faculty-initiated drops on August 30th for those who have not logged into Canvas by then. If you're watching this, you're fine. You've logged in. That's great. It's the same goes for face-to-face classes. If you don't show up for the first week, your professor can remove you from the class. And I do this, especially in online classes, because it's just less work for me in the long run. But again, if you're watching this video, you've seen the syllabus, this does not apply to you. It's for the lazy people who think, oh, it's an online class, I just blow it off. No, you can't. Lastly, here on this note, although this course is online, and I will give you until 5 p.m. on the 17th of December to complete the final, I do need to give you the final exam schedule. I think it's a HSU policy, so there it is. And then penultimately, next to last here, my most sincere goal is to help you to become better writers. So I've said this before. So in addition to or en lieu of talking to me about your papers, please do consider visiting the HSU Writing Studio. There are good people there. They do know how to write. They are helpful. You can schedule an appointment with those folks over the phone or Zoom or what have you. They'll help you out at any stage of writing. You want to brainstorm a thesis statement? Great, they'll help you. You want to have somebody read over a final draft? Great. Give them my style guide too, and they can help you make sure you didn't make any bonehead mistakes that I specifically asked you not to make. They're there to help. I'm here to help. So, consider, use your resources. Too many people, not just at HSU, this is in all of academia, do not use the resources that are available to them that will help you be a more successful student. If we're, measuring this by your grade or how well you write, etc. Lastly, and again, this is the third time I mention this, so I probably think it's important. Following HSU protocol, I take academic honesty very seriously. Please do consult this specific link which takes you to the HSU academic honesty policy, and consider the university's definitions of cheating, plagiarism, and academic dishonesty. Know your responsibilities. That webpage will specifically say that not being aware of the policy is not an excuse for having or a justification for having violated the policy. So don't cheat, period. If there is ever any evidence of academic dishonesty, I will report it to the Dean of Students. And I've given up doing a 0 on the assignment or what have you. You're going to get an F for the class if I catch you cheating, period. You could appeal the grade. That's fine, but it's really advisable to just not cheat in the first place. I'm a laid back guy. Again, I'm here to help. I will bend over backwards to give you good feedback. I'll read over papers ahead of time before they're due, if that's what you want. I genuinely want you to become better writers and learn more about the U.S. political system. But if you're going to cheat in the process, you are going to get an F for the class. Okay, that's it. There's just no discussion. So don't do it. But there is that. Beyond this on the syllabus, it's just the schedule. Sorry, I'm on my wife's Mackie thing, and the mouse is all sensitive. But so here is the schedule. The Canvas page by module follows this same lineup. Week 1, we don't really do anything. I take things easy. With gen ed classes, a lot of people end up joining late. There's some turnover always. People wait to get the books, what have you. So I take it super easy. Watch this video. We're 35 minutes in. I'll probably go on for about 10 minutes more. That's pretty much your assignment for this week. Read the syllabus, get the books, be ready. I have opened up week 2's work, discussion board and reading quizzes. So you've got 2 weeks to do week 1's work. You can do it during week 1 or week 2. So there you go. Because I know a lot of people, we're readjusting to life somewhat being sort of back to normal, but still not. Maybe you got half your courses are face-to-face, half are online, you're working. I don't know. I don't want to be the cause of your frustration during week 1. So I take it easy. And in a gen ed class like this, I can get away with it. So there it is. By the 30th of August, though, Monday of next week, be ready to jump in with both feet if you pretty much take week 1 off. But you can do that. It's fine. No harm. But I've got the chapters that you need to read, and the quizzes are numbered corresponding to each chapter. The due dates are all here. I realize you're probably not going to go consult this. None of you probably have paper planners where you write things down, but all the information you would need to do that is here. The breaks for the exams are not exactly even, but more or less every 3 or 4 weeks you're going to have an exam. The papers are staggered. Some of them, I think at least 2 papers coincide with when an exam is due. I apologize, but you've got 9 days to do the discussion board, the reading quizzes, and the paper. The exams, I don't think I have them opening until Wednesday of a given week, but you have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to do the exam. So, you should be able to work everything in, even on weeks where there are several quizzes and a discussion board and a paper and an exam. If you are an organized person, you should have no problem getting all of that done within 9 days. It's not that much work. If you put it all off until Sunday at 8 p.m., yeah, you're going to have a hard time getting it all done. But that's not my problem. That's on you. Okay. I don't mean to be pithy or pissy and dismissive, but again, I try to compromise as best I can. I'm flexible, but tough on due dates. Everything's due on Sunday. That kind of stinks. But if you're organized, it shouldn't be a problem at all. Anyway. We go through the Lowy book chapter by chapter. As I said, the Katznelson and Van Vechten chapters will bounce around, so make sure you know. But this is all indicated in the modules for a given week. Vice paper, the second film we're going to watch, that's due on a week that there's not a quiz, or not an exam. So maybe plan on doing that one. If you know that you get flustered and you don't like having lots of things due at the same time, then look at the calendar now and maybe plan ahead of time when you're going to do the film papers. Be proactive. And if you normally don't do such things, give it a try. I'm a natural procrastinator, but when I do things proactively, I'm like, wow, I should do this more often. My life's way easier. And to that point, week 9, for example, in late October, mid to late October, only has one chapter, Lois chapter 9, and a film, but no exam that week. So that might be a good week to do a paper. And if you do the vice paper and that paper, by week 9, you're done with all the papers, right? Not a bad gig. The majority of folks tend to put them off until the very end, the last 2 films, and I expect that. I don't like it, but I expect it, and I prepare accordingly to grade. But there we are. And lastly, I'll say this now. I've said it once before. I'll say it again, and I'll say it later in the semester. Finals week is the 13th to the 17th of December. The 17th is a Friday, and I need you to take the exam by 5 p.m. Friday, December 17th. Okay? The other exams are due on Sunday at midnight. I'm aware. But by the end of the semester, if you miss the final and then say, but I thought we had until Sunday at midnight, you weren't paying attention. It happens every single semester. Don't be that person. Don't be that person. Know now, write it down, put it in your phone, do whatever. The final exam needs to be done by the Friday of finals week at 5 p.m. It's because I need to not think about who hasn't taken the darn final, because the turnaround time on for me to get final grades in is pretty slim, and I usually get slammed with papers for the last paper, which are due the 12th, because people procrastinate, right? So I don't want to grade 100 papers in the span of a week while reopening the final exam right and left for people who blew it off. So who didn't pay attention to when it was due. So anyway, that's all I'll say about that for now. Let me quickly go back to modules up here, módulos. Anyway, yeah, like I said, my wife is from Venezuela, and I use her computer to record these things because the sound is much better. That's why it's in Spanish. Pero yo también, yo nací en Kansas. I was born in Kansas, pero yo viví muchos años de mi vida en España. Yo hablo español también. Si tú prefieres comunicarte conmigo en español, adelante, estoy aquí, estoy listo, preparado. Si es más fácil para ti, aquí estoy. But I occasionally have students I have had students at Humboldt State who have preferred to communicate with me outside of class in Spanish. If that's you, be my guest. Not a problem. If that's more comfortable for you, if you want to write your film analysis papers in Spanish, if you're more comfortable with that, that's fine with me too. Or Portuguese, French, whatever. Run it by me. But I'm try to be as accommodating as I can, save the due dates, right? No late work. But I'm here to help. So anyway, here's week 1. You're watching the video. Here's the syllabus. Here are the rubrics for the discussion board, where I specifically ask you to, say, write an analytical question. Don't give me yes or no questions. Write a question with some substance, if you would, please. But it's all explained here. Don't ask very general questions like, what do you think about Congress? That's not going to get you all the points. Did you know that, ... So really, ask analytical questions that require narrative, analytical answers, and answer questions that are analytical and require a narrative answer. I say here, don't answer nearly 2 identical questions. I do reserve the right to dock you some points if you do. So, get out of your comfort zone here. But here is the breakdown. Where your initial question, if you write a simple yes or no question or a trivia like question that really doesn't evidence having done the reading at all, you'd be surprised. It happens a lot. I'll give you 1 out of 3 points. You write a trivia-like question that evidences having done the readings. And when I say trivia-like question, I get people who literally say, on page 76 of the Lowy text, this is discussed. What does Lowy say about ... And that's not an analytical question, right? So make sure you ask one that requires some critical thinking. And I insist that you cite references to the text by page number to earn all 3 points, right? So tell me where your question's coming from, where I can find the text that's relevant to your question in the textbooks. And I think I put down here, I say, how to text, Lowy 2019 : page 136. There you go. In your responses, if you just say, oh, hey, I agree with you, I'll give you a point out of 3. Say I disagree with you because, and you explain, but you make no reference to the text. I'll give you 2 out of 3 points. And if you give a truly thoughtful and thought out response that references the readings by page number, you're going to get all 3 points, right? So yeah, do yourself a favor and simply avoid answering questions that are not analytical. There's that. And then the style guide, I'll give you 1 point for the style guide, and I'll pull the style guide up in a sec. But follow the instructions on the style guide. If you don't, I'll cut you some slack for the first couple weeks. But if you don't follow the style guide, you will not get all the points there. So let's go back to the modules here quickly. So I'm going a little longer than planned. The film analysis rubric is pretty straightforward. I'll maybe address that closer to the first paper, but do have a read of that. Here's my infamous style guide that some people love and some people hate. But I'll show you what I mean as I've mentioned it a few times. So I call this Larson Style Guide or Larson Snarky Unsolicited Writing Advice. Do not waste space at the top of your paper. Use Times New Roman. Use 12-point font. Use the same font. Use double-spaced setting for your text. Use 1-inch margins. These kind of basic things. And then it gets more fun when I say, like, hey, don't use contractions in formal writing. Many people do. I don't like it, so I ask that you don't. Be mindful of your commas. Don't put one after the subject of your sentence, which people seem to do lately. I say here, you're probably best off avoiding semicolons altogether. If you know how to use them, great, use them. If you are not absolutely certain how to use them, then don't. Just don't. Using them does not make you look smart. Misusing them makes you look really bad. Be consistent with capitalization. Things on like using apostrophes with decades, don't do that. Put your commas and periods before the closing quotes. If you use quotes, have a good title, right? Film analysis paper, film response paper. This is not a title. And I say that on the rubric too, by the way. I give you 10 points on your papers for a title. 10% of your grade is just having a title that is relevant to your thesis. Little things like never use myself as a subject pronoun. Myself and my neighbor mowed the yard. No, my neighbor and I mowed the yard. So if you don't know how to use myself, if you don't know that myself is a reflexive pronoun and how to use it reflexively, then just don't use it. Don't confuse things like it's, there, lead, cite, and cite, so on and so forth. Never use the ampersand, write out and in the body of your paper. It's okay in a title, but not in the body of a paper. Don't say things like seems to be, known to be. It's just fluff that takes up space. It's needless. Something is or it isn't, and then maybe find a better verb than is. Avoid needlessly complicated grammar. I hate seeing things are, being. That's the same verb twice in a row. It doesn't look good. Don't use big words you do not understand. Be mindful of past participles and adjectival forms of verbs. Although we pronounce less and less the D at the end of past participles, that D is important, right? The U.S. is supposed to have orchestrated the 1953 coup in Iran. I hear people say the U.S. is supposed to have orchestrated the 1953 coup in Iran. That's incorrect, right? And spoken English, we drop that D all the time. I text my wife to tell her I'd be late. No, I texted, but saying texted is clunky, and so we seem to avoid it. But definitely write it out. What else to say? There's some other things that I'm really fussy with. Refer to institutions in the singular, not as they. The same goes for countries, states, organizations, companies, etc. Facebook is not a they. The U.S. government is not they. These things are it, right? We're very concerned about pronouns, rightfully so this day and age, but we misuse them all the time. Do not say the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan in 1979. They were very brutal to the Afghanis. Say the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan in 1979. It was very brutal to the Afghanis. The Soviet Union is an it, not a they. If you say the Soviets invaded Afghanistan, they were very brutal to the Afghanis, that's great, because Soviets are a they, more than one Soviet, right? but a country, simply put, is not a they. I don't have a lot of patience for referring to the United States as we. You and I did not invade Iraq in 2003. You were likely very young at the time. I am old, and I am a U.S. citizen, but I'm not part of the we that supposedly invaded Vietnam, right? And I say, yeah, you know, C 29, number 29 regarding supposed and invaded, right? Anyway, for the love of all things holy, something is based on something else, not based off of. You know, when have you ever heard that a movie was based off of a true story? Never, right? You hear movies all the time are based on a true story, not based off of. So don't say based off of. I will dock you the style guide point for saying based off of. Use these words very carefully. Situation, aspect, stance, perspective, or basis. These words are used as needless filler, often in conjunction with needlessly complicated grammar. What is the difference between an emergency situation and an emergency? None. An economic aspect can often be replaced with economically. That's an adverb. It sounds much better. It's better English. A practical stance or from a practical perspective can be replaced with practically. On a daily basis, how about just daily? There is no difference between the two. So again, I really want you to try to step your writing game up a bit, right? Follow my fussy instructions and your writing should appear more professional, right? Practice, find better words. I'll be as precise as you can. More words does not equal better, despite me rambling on for 50 minutes. I'd like to think that everything I'm saying is relevant and useful, okay? If whatever you see in your writing is not relevant or useful, get rid of it. This is a lot of instruction on how to talk about things in the U.S. political system. Look at that accordingly. Lastly, and I can't believe I have to stress this, proofread your paper before you print it or you upload it. Read it out from the screen, seriously. If you do not hear the same voice in which you normally speak, edit your paper, okay? Sage advice. Somebody told me this in graduate school, like literally read your paper out loud and you're going to catch lots of little errors. You go back and change it and it's going to read better. It's going to be better. Your grade's going to be better, okay? Do that. This other stuff is more when we were face-to-face and turning things in. Doesn't really apply. But anyway, that's my sage advice. Use it to your advantage as best you can. Again, I am here to help. I mean for everything to be helpful to you. I don't know why my video, my head comes in and out, but anyway, hopefully the sound doesn't get cut off. But anyway, there's that. There's some writing strategies here where someone did ask me a couple years ago, how should I go about starting a paper to write a bit better? And I give you some feedback, some thoughts there about just how to be a better writer. I'm not going to go through that now because you're already bored. But anyway, here is a regular week of class. You're going to have a lecture video, and then I'll talk over a PowerPoint like I'm doing right now that follows, curiously enough, the assigned readings. And then I'll supply you with the PowerPoint independently of the video. Some people realize very quickly they don't need to listen to me, probably don't want to listen to me anyway, and can get what they need out of the PowerPoint. But in the recorded lectures, I have a lot of hyperlinks, many of which go to fun things like The Daily Show or things from NPR. This one, The Great System, no, so that's the end of it. This is a clip from The Newsroom, HBO TV show from several years ago. But if I click on these links in the recorded lecture, because I post them on YouTube, YouTube then kicks me out, takes down my video for violating copyright. So here's how I have decided to set everything up. So if you're watching the lecture and I say, here's a hyperlink, hit the pause button and you can pull it up here as you wish. And you don't have to watch. I don't assume that everybody watches all of these. I don't assume that everybody watches all of the lecture videos. And I know how many times it's viewed in a given semester. So yeah, I know that most folks eventually will stop watching them. So, or maybe not most, but many. But readings here, I assign textbooks. You don't necessarily have to buy them. The Lowy book here is the previous edition. It's the 15th edition before the current edition was published. So it's like a lot of Trump talk, no Biden talk, because Biden wasn't president then when that edition came out. But that's there. You don't have to buy any textbooks if you don't want to. Don't tell anyone on campus that, much less at the library. I'm not supposed to do this, but I figure I cut you some slack. So if you've made it 54 minutes into this video, I've let the cat out of the bag. If you ignored this video and you bought the books, that's because you didn't do the assignment that I asked you to do, which was watch the video. So anyway, reading quizzes are accessible here. Discussion is accessible here. I do include some extra supplementary materials if you want to look at. This is from the publisher of the Lowy book from the previous edition, mind you, but a chapter summary, some flashcards, practice quiz if you want to do that. None of this counts towards your grade, but if you want to look at it, be my guest. Let's look at week 4 real quick. I promise you I'm almost done, but I want to click on week 4 because this is a week that has both a film, and the film's here, right? You can watch, you click on this, it takes you to the film. Don't have to buy anything. Here's the paper where you would upload your paper. Here's a study guide. Here's a sample paper. Here is an NPR story that's relevant to the film 13th. I'm sure some people, inevitably in any given class when I teach this and use this film, somebody's seen 13th. It's an excellent film on mass incarceration and civil rights. But there's that. So the film information is always there. Occasionally someone will email me and say, I had to buy access to this movie. That's because you weren't paying attention. I don't require you to do that. Don't spend any of your own money on anything unless you want to. Lastly, though, here under week 4, we see the study guide for exam 1, and then exam 1 is accessible here. So no surprises. All the other weeks follow the same format. Thanksgiving week, I have week 13 is going to be open all through Thanksgiving. Week 15 is going to open the first week of break, so you can do weeks 13 and 15 all during break if you want. So again, I try to be as flexible as possible. Although each module opens again, the Friday night at midnight or Sunday at 12 a.m. The week prior, because in semesters past, when I first started teaching online a while ago, people would say, well, why can't I just do everything? And well, it's because the work tends to be pretty shoddy. And with the discussion boards, not everyone's going to want to do that. So we go week by week. That's the way it is. No discussion. But anyway, there we are. That's all I've got. If you have any questions for me, feel free to get in touch. I'm pretty accessible. You've got my phone number, you've got my email address, you can message me through Canvas, whatever is most convenient and comfortable for you. But I'm here to help. I really am. I mean that genuinely. I'm here to help with your writing, whether or not we ever communicate over the phone, or, I will give you written feedback on your papers. I'll give you written feedback, a fair amount of written feedback early, the first few weeks on the discussion boards, just to make sure everybody knows how to get 10 points. By the end of the semester, it'll be pretty quick and dirty on the feedback. But anyway, I am here to help. Please don't hesitate to contact me if you want to. I am a real person. I have real person problems like you do. I have car trouble now and again. My grandma's not in great health. I understand life happens. So when you need to get in touch about anything like that, go for it. You have questions about anything, shout. Okay? I mean that genuinely. So I'll stop repeating myself. There we are. Have a good one. Good semester to everyone in this class and in all of your classes. Use the resources that you have to your advantage, and be well. Okay? Take care. Thanks.